She is. We know Caitlin Clark from basically everything she has said. And I've said, man, boy, if it was me, she would be the president of the Players Union. I wouldn't think twice about it. Because you can tell, yeah, she wants a fair deal, but she also wants to play basketball. And she has handled this whole thing with an immense amount of class that we haven't seen out of hardly anybody involving these talks.
This isn't just confidence, it's smart pressure. If you know anything about labor negotiations, you'll see what Caitlin Clark just did. She went public with a positive message right when both sides are stuck. That's no accident. The WNBA and its players' union are in a deadlock over the new contract. Training camps start soon. While other players are posting about what they deserve, Clark shared a video of herself signing autographs for hundreds of fans, with a simple caption, "It's time to stop talking and start playing basketball."
Today, the possibility of the season being delayed or even being put in jeopardy altogether becomes more real. This is not something Clark wants, and her recent public statements have served to apply some subtle pressure to get the deal done. When Clark made her NBA on NBC broadcasting debut Sunday, she once again emphasized the importance of the moment for the WNBA, and that's not what I'm referring to. But yeah, the other night she was asked about CBA, and it was a statement that was still very, we've got to play some ball.
What makes Clark's approach different is that most players are focused on money, how revenue is split and what's fair. Those are important issues, of course. But Clark keeps the focus on the game itself. On NBC's Basketball Night in America on Sunday, she was asked about the contract negotiations. Instead of talking about money, she talked about momentum. She said, "We're in this moment because of the product we put on the floor. So we need to keep doing that." Clark gets something crucial: all the attention, media deals, and new fans only exist if they actually play basketball. Every day without a deal, that advantage slowly fades.
And I've got no idea who this person is, but for whatever reason, I'm blocked. I mean, really? All the pro Caitlin Clark content I make, and I'm blocked. Oh, I hurt somebody's widow feelings. Anyway, too bad. So this went up on the Instagram from Caitlin Clark, and it's Caitlin Clark signing a lot of autographs for a hell of a lot of fevered fans to see her. And she said, "It's time to get back to a lot of this."
Clark is right about what's at stake. Her Instagram post wasn't just a trip down memory lane, it was a reminder of what could be lost. The fans in that video aren't casual watchers. They waited in line, bought tickets, and traveled to see her play. These are the kind of fans the WNBA has been trying to attract for 27 years. Here's the truth few admit: the league's longtime fans will stick around through a lockout, they're invested. But Clark's newer fans, who started watching last season, aren't fully committed yet. They're curious and interested, but if there's no season, they'll move on. Clark gets this. You can see it in how she handles public appearances. She isn't picking sides or criticizing anyone, she keeps the focus on playing basketball. That's pressure, but without confrontation.
The appearance was not treated as a one-off moment, but rather a glimpse into what her future in sports media could look like. She's going to be a massive star. While Clark remains focused on her playing career, NBC clearly views her as a natural fit in front of the camera and someone worth investing in long-term. Rick Cordello spoke positively about Clark's debut, noting that she did a good job and handled the role with ease. He highlighted her understanding of the game and her ability to communicate clearly, two qualities that translate well from the court to the broadcast booth.
Clark's
Cordella
NBC appearance shows just how valuable she is. Basketball Night in America kicked off with the Knicks vs. Lakers, drawing 4.5 million viewers, a record for NBC's NBA coverage in years. Sure, it was a big matchup, but NBC's president, Rick Cordella, specifically praised Clark. She wasn't just on camera, she was prepared, confident, and spoke about the game in a way that connected with viewers. That means NBC sees her as a long-term talent, not just a short-term ratings boost. They're even considering her for a media career after basketball. That gives Clark huge leverage. If the WNBA season doesn't happen, she's not stuck at home, she has other opportunities.
Jordan thing, where he sat down for like 1 hour-long interview, and they've been chopping like 7 minutes. 7 minutes out of every one of them. 7-minute segments out of a 1 hour interview, and then sprinkled it throughout the season. No, she showed up in person and stood between two legendary NBA players one who's horrible at making player comps, by the way, and Reggie Miller. I guess I could have done that video, but I didn't. Who was it? Peyton Pritchard? Are you high? Are you high, Reggie?
Here's the interesting part. Clark stood between two NBA legends and held her own on a national broadcast. That's not just good for her personal brand, it's good for the whole WNBA. Every time she appears on a big platform and shows she belongs, she raises the bar for what women basketball players can achieve. But none of that matters if there's no season. NBC didn't put her on the broadcast just because she was a former college star. They did it because she's an active WNBA player with huge crossover appeal. Take away the active player part, and she's just another retired athlete doing commentary. Her value drops fast. That's why her public statements matter so much. She's not just speaking for herself, she's speaking for everyone who benefits from the league's momentum, and she's doing it without upsetting either side of the negotiation.
No, both those guys are like probably 6'5" or 6'6", and she's 5'11" or something like that. So, but did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. Caitlin Clark wants to play basketball. And I think sports fans ought to start saying that instead of WNBA fans. Sports fans want to watch Caitlin Clark.
She says, "I feel confident we'll get something done, instead of demanding more money or blaming the league." That's smart, diplomatic pressure. She sets an expectation without making anyone look bad if it doesn't happen. Then she posts that Instagram video with no words, no demands, no ultimatums, just a reminder of what everyone is fighting for. That's how you apply pressure without creating enemies. Other players have taken a different approach, posting public ultimatums or drawing lines in the sand. That can back you into a corner. If you demand 70% of revenue and settle for 55%, you look weak. Clark has avoided that trap completely.
YouTube, what are you doing? Peace about. Till next time.
So, what happens next? The WNBA and the Players Union are still negotiating, and training camps are supposed to start soon. Every day without a deal makes it more likely the season could be delayed or canceled. The stakes are high because the league just signed a huge new media deal, $2.2 billion over 11 years with ESPN, NBC, and Amazon. That money could change everything for the WNBA, but it also makes negotiations tense. Players want their share of the incoming cash, but networks pay based on expected games. If there's no season, that money, and the league's credibility, could vanish. That's where Clark's strategy comes in. She's not trying to force players to accept a bad deal. She's reminding everyone what's at risk. Last season, her rookie year drove record attendance, ratings, and merchandise sales. The Indiana Fever went from one of the least-watched teams to a ratings powerhouse. But that growth only exists if games are played. Casual fans don't wait for labor disputes, they move on. Clark knows this better than almost anyone. She brought in most of those new fans, and if there's no season, she loses the platform that makes her valuable to NBC, sponsors, and the wider sports world. That's why when she posts videos of signing autographs, it's not just nostalgia, it's a reminder of what's at stake. Clark is reminding everyone what's at risk. The fans in her video won't wait forever, they'll move on to the NFL, college football, or whatever else is happening. Once they're gone, it's hard to get them back. In pro sports, players usually have more to lose in the short term than owners. Owners can handle a lost season financially, but players have limited time to earn. For a 22-year-old like Clark, missing a season isn't career-ending, but for veterans in their 30s, it could be a huge setback. That's why Clark's approach is so smart. She's not pretending everyone has the same priorities, she's focusing on something everyone agrees on: playing basketball is better than not playing. Her optimism and focus make her look reasonable compared to players making demands or drawing lines. The public sees Clark as someone who wants to play, while others seem to be standing in the way. That's her way of applying pressure, without confrontation, without attacking anyone. She's reminding everyone what they're fighting for while creating an expectation of resolution. Will it work? Clark believes so. She's confident a deal will be reached before the season is at risk. And she has a point: if the season is cancelled or delayed, everyone loses. Players lose income and momentum, the league loses credibility with media partners, fans lose the product they care about, and Clark loses the platform that makes her the most marketable women's basketball player in the world. Someone has to blink. Based on her public appearances, my bet is on Clark, the 22-year-old who spent Sundays standing between NBA legends on national TV and made it look effortless. So, what do you think? Is Clark handling this the right way, or